Good morning, everybody. How are you all today? I'm taking my time and I'm keeping my eye on this little timer right here, which tells me how long I've been streaming. And I want to make sure it doesn't do like the time out, time back in thing. Cause I get, oh God, what is that? There's like a hair on the top of my ear that needs to be plucked. You can just watch me groom myself. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, everybody. See, I knew it was going to do it. I knew it was going to do it. It just reset. Hi again, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to day 25 of What the WTF, where we are exploring what the WTF, what happens in life, day 25. What happens in life when we surrender and give in? What happens when we stop fighting what is and allow ourselves to be present in the moment and just be, engage, see what's going on, what's here for me, what wants to come through, what's ready for love and attention. And then we're just going to see what happens at the 30-day mark, which most likely is not going to be what the mind is expecting it to be, right? And that's okay, because I don't think it's about an outcome. It's about the experience. It's about the journey. It's about the reclamation of your sovereignty. It's about the reclamation of your freedom and your liberty. It's about saying to yourself, is this the only way that it can be done? Is this the only way I can live my life? How else can I engage? What other aspects of me could I employ to make my way through life, this current passage, this moment? What is it that I don't know here, right? These questions are so important because they return us to our center. Because when we question the moment, what that does immediately is bring us back to the moment. And anything that brings me into the moment is useful. Anything that takes me out of the past or out of the future in terms of my mental projection is useful, is powerful. And so the questions that we ask today, and on the previous 24 days of this series, we're going to day 30. The questions we've been asking and the topics we've been talking about, and the subjects we've been exploring are really, really wonderful. And I'm so glad we're having these conversations. But I think above and beyond anything else, the fact that we are willing to show up, be present, regardless of what is here, regardless of what's going on, and just be, right? Hey, what is here for me today? Where does my energy want to go? What is spirit asking of me? What does my body want? What does the mind need? What is the emotional self, the energetic self? Really taking yourself and the moment and giving everything to it so that you can get everything out of it. This is reciprocity. This is what circular systems look like. This is what equal access looks like. When we allow ourselves to give as much as we hope to receive, and it begins that relationship of reciprocity, that relationship of fulfillment and interdependency begins with you. When you are willing to give yourself to the moment, when you're willing to give yourself to yourself, right? Even in the midst, and I think especially in the midst of circumstances that are perhaps challenging, circumstances that are perhaps intense and feel maybe even a little bit overwhelming, I think we do ourselves a disservice when we try to vacate or escape the present moment. That immediately creates suffering. That's one of the messages and notes from the higher self, my book available on Amazon. The higher self is talking about desire, or suffering is created by the desire to vacate the present moment. So when we give ourselves fully to the moment, which is really just giving ourselves fully to ourself, then we open up all of the potential that is always present, and we can tap into the moment and pour ourselves into it. And then that reciprocal cycle immediately begins, and it begins to return to us, right? Because what do we know? The whole universe, all of our reality here is simply a projection. It's a hologram. And it is built upon laws, and it operates under laws that ensure that whatever we put out there is what we're going to get back, right? That's the whole point of intention. I want to know, what is it like to live a life that's this? What is it like to have an experience that's this? And so we move into those spaces. The spirit, the soul, the truth of what you are is never trying to escape the present moment. It wants nothing more than to completely consume, digest, integrate, and embody whatever is present in the moment. It wants nothing to do with any other layer of reality other than the one that is here and is present for your focus right here and right now. So if the soul isn't trying to escape the present moment, why are you? And we talk a lot about this, right? Like, oh, what is my alignment? What is my mission? What is my path? What is my purpose? What does my soul want from me? What is my soul trying to get from me? What is my soul trying to tell me? I don't know. But I can promise you, it has nothing to do with any other moment than the one that is right here, right now. So if you want to discover your purpose and your path and your passion, stay in the moment, stay in the body. Be willing to turn towards the parts of you that you have been denying, running from, hiding from, trying to numb out or cover or escape for the past however long. Finally, turning to them and saying, hey, what do you need? What do you need from me? Because I'm the sovereign, right? So all I have to know is that anything that is vying for my attention internally or externally is merely seeking an audience with the sovereign. So if the soul isn't trying to escape the current moment, what good do you think it serves you or does you to try and escape the present moment? Because your soul's here saying, babe, I don't know what you're doing. Trying to rewind to 20 years ago or future trip in tomorrow or next week or next month or next decade, because I'm here. I'm always here. And I always have been here. And I see this a lot. People saying, oh, I don't feel connected. Oh, I feel alone. Oh, I feel, forsaken. I feel isolated. Okay, sure. Isolation is definitely a real part of the spiritual journey. And there are absolutely, without question, going to be moments on your path where it is just you and you, because you need to remember what your own voice, your own truth, your own vibe, your own rhythm, your own flavor feels like and sounds like and tastes like. And the only way you're going to do that often is by putting yourself in a situation where the only voice you really hear is yours. But this idea that, oh, I'm forsaken, my guides aren't here. Yeah, they are. They always are. They have to be. They're a part of you. Your higher self is as much a part of you as your head is a part of your body. So, this idea that your higher self is forsaken or ignoring you or excluding you, girl, don't project your own traumatized past onto your spirit guide, onto yourself. It is always with you. It can't not be with you. So, if you find yourself saying, oh, where are my guides? I can't hear them. I can't see them. I can't feel them. They're not here. They're here. You're probably just not paying attention, or you are paying attention and you don't like what they're guiding you to do. Or you expect them to do the work for you. It's probably one of the three. Either there's a sign that you don't want to listen to or pay attention to, either you're not paying attention to the right voices, or you're just completely unaware that it even exists and you haven't remembered how to hear yourself yet. But the fact remains, you're always connected to all that you are. It's impossible for you not to be. Creation is. Life exists. So you exist and you exist eternally. And the only being that can decide to cancel you is spirit itself. And you are spirit itself. So that's essentially the equivalent of a spirit saying, I'm going to trim my fingernails. So you have nothing to worry about. There's nothing to escape. There's nothing to avoid. There's nothing to outrun. There's nothing to deny. It's just you. So this idea that we are without, that is being withheld, that we are being restricted, that we're being cut off, that we're being excluded, no. That's organized religion. That's what organized religion does. That is not what spirit does. You are exactly where you need to be with everything you currently need at your disposal right now. And if you don't believe me, then you just need to look somewhere else. And most likely, you're probably focused on someone or something out there, expecting that or expecting them to be the answer. Again, I will remind you, nobody can save you. Your spirit guides are guides. They're not proxies. They're not going to do it for you. They are here to assist you in coming back to yourself. They are here to assist you in the evolution and the expansion of what you already are. So they're not going to do it for you because that's not the point. Your higher self already knows how to do it. What your higher self wanted was the experience of living through the human conundrum of forgetting, stumbling around in the dark for a few decades, then having an awakening and coming back to self. But you always reside in that place of power. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. There has to be a higher level of your awareness that you are connected to in order for you to exist at all. And I will remind you once again, the reason that I know this is because the only reason the human experience exists is because the soul chose it. And the only reason the soul exists is because spirit created it. So this is just you having an experience of yourself with the concept of being removed down the line of like the lineage, right? My grandmother, my great grandmother, my great 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 great, and on back up the chain. But they're all just aspects of you. So the fact that you exist means that you are connected to something greater than you are. Otherwise, you could not be. That's what I mean when I say, at some level, everything that happens is a choice. And when it doesn't make sense from the human level of perception, that is just an invitation to connect higher. You are not stuck. It is not a block. It is a stepping stone. It is a ladder that has been placed in front of you to give you the opportunity to ascend to a higher state of being and awareness so that you can see things from a new perspective. Have you ever noticed how when you're flying and you look down at the planet, you look down on the ground and the earth, and you're what, 30,000 feet up, and you see, and you're like, wow, everything just looks so tiny. It's so little. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's just now in a context that allows you to see it in a much greater field of awareness. It's the same thing with you. Your higher self is at the 30,000-foot viewpoint. So it's not that your life, your experience is not important. It is just part of a much broader context. And when you're on the ground in the weeds with your, in it, it feels a lot bigger. It feels a lot more important. It feels a lot more overwhelming because you're in it. But when you rise up and you take that perspective, now you're floating above the trees. Now you can see like, oh, I wasn't stuck. I just needed to go a few degrees to the right to find the path. So lovingly and compassionately, I say, those of you who believe you are wrong, believe you are forsaken, believe you have been rejected, neglected, cut off, excluded, ghosted, canceled, you couldn't be farther from the truth. Consider that every single time you take a test, the teacher's always quiet. So maybe the reason that you don't hear your guidance or feel your guidance is because they're giving you an opportunity to remember what you know. Knowledge is useless if you don't know how to put it into action in your own experience. I'm going to show you something really quick. This is an old learning model, and I'm going to do my best to remember who to credit for this. My mother is a PhD in education, and she taught me this. And I can't remember the instructor, but it is really, really fascinating, and I want you to follow me here. So apologies for not crediting the creator of this. I did not create it. So this is how humans learn. This is how adult humans learn. So we start up here in this corner, UI, not urinary infection. That would be UTI. UI, unconsciously incompetent. I suck and I don't know it. I'm causing all sorts of havoc, breaking shit, knocking stuff over, setting it on fire, but I don't know it. Everything's great. I'm happy. I'm wonderful. This is kind of like a toddler learning how to walk, right? They're just knocking shit over and it's havoc and they have no idea what they're doing, but they're figuring it out. And then at some point you have an awakening and someone says to you like, hey, there's another way to do that. Or, hey, that everything behind you is like a burning mess of a hot garbage fire because you don't know what you're doing. And you go, really? And they go, yeah. And then they teach you something. And then you move from unconsciously incompetent to consciously incompetent. Consciously incompetent means, oh, I suck and I know it, right? I'm aware of like, oh, there is something I didn't know. Oh, wow, cool. There is another way to do it. And so we apply ourselves and we focus and we learn and we acquire skill. And then we move into unconsciously competent. Unconsciously competent means I'm no longer doing it the old way. I'm still figuring out how to do it in the correct way, but I don't know how to really do it. It's sort of by accident that I stumble upon my results, right? Like I do it and then I go, oh, I do it. And then I try to reverse engineer it. And sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I don't. But in unconsciously competent, at least I'm aware there's another way and I'm aspiring to achieve something in terms of my skill set and my knowledge base. Then we move to consciously competent. Consciously competent is I know what I'm doing. I know how to get there. I can recreate it every single time. My results are always exactly what I want them to be. Every once in a while, there's going to be a chaos agent that I can't control, but that has nothing to do with my ability or my understanding. And the most important thing with consciously competent, this one right here, I can teach you how I did it. I can outline the steps. Unconsciously competent is what you will often find when someone has been doing something from like birth, like a musical prodigy who just sat down and knew how to play the piano. They won't necessarily be able to teach you how to play piano because it was innate. They don't know how to learn how to play the piano. They just came in knowing how to do it. So to ask them to teach you is going to be a huge challenge for them because they've never thought of it in terms of steps. They just were like, oh, a piano, I want to play that. And they did. So this is where we all begin unconsciously incompetent and ultimately arrive at consciously competent. And as a human, always going through a state of learning and being in expansion, I can be in any one of these states at any given time with any topic or subject. And the minute that I learn something new about what I thought I knew, oh, wow, I did not know that. Then I go right back to unconsciously incompetent and I begin again. None of these states are a judgment. None of these states are saying that they're better or they're worse. It's just a way to know what you're doing, how you got there, and how to recreate it. Your soul is always consciously competent. It knows exactly what it's doing all of the time. It just wants to understand a new way. What is the way I haven't lived it yet? What is the experience I haven't gone through yet? That's why we have such a myriad and such a variety of experiences on this one singular planet. So it's important for you to acknowledge when you don't know something. And it's also important to know, especially as an adult, that learning new skills aren't always going to be the easiest thing for the human aspect of you. But again, when you go higher up the chain, and you connect with your cosmic mind, the unified mind, the divine mind, then you're bypassing so many steps of frustration and agonizing, like, oh my God, where is it? So you always have what you need. And if you don't have what you need, you just haven't asked the right level of yourself yet. So I think it's really, really crucial, especially as we proceed through the rest of this year, which is going to be over like that. We're almost at the halfway mark for this calendar year, right? And it's going to be increasingly crucial that we understand for ourselves what is real, what is true, what is authentic. Where am I unconsciously incompetent? Where do I not know what I don't know? Where is my life always a disaster that will point me to, oh, I just don't know that I suck. Okay, cool. That immediately moves me to consciously incompetent. Okay, so I'm aware that I suck. There's this one area of my life that's always a hot flaming dumpster fire. And I would prefer it to not be a hot flaming dumpster fire. So how is it that I can know more about this area of my life so that I can shift the state of being? Then I immediately move to consciously incompetent, right? Okay, I'm aware. And now I'm going to start to find the answers. Now I'm going to go up the chain and I'm going to ask, hey, guide me, self, guide me, show me, lead me. persuade me, seduce me, call me forward, push me forward, knock me off the edge, whatever it is that I need to connect to the information. And then eventually I become unconsciously competent. Ooh, I'm better now. Ooh, I know how to do it now. Ooh, I got results that I wanted now. So many of us are afraid of failing. So many of us are afraid of messing it up. And I've said this a million times, and we'll probably say it a million more. Girl, I understand why you think people might be sitting on the sidelines and judging you, but I promise you, 99% of them are either worried about their own shit or too busy looking at their phone. So they're not even paying attention to you. So go do what you want to do anyway, because no one is paying attention anyway. And that's freedom. That's liberation. And you can have it now. Or do you believe that a certain set of circumstances need to be in place before you can be free, before you can start living? Because I'll tell you what, you're living now. You're free now. And whether or not you believe that or understand that is entirely up to you. So to continue in this vein, yeah, I think so too, Aaron. To continue in this vein of authenticity and accountability for yourself and your life, and to also bring into the room a massive amount of compassion and understanding and forgiveness for yourself. How do you know? Oh, thank you, Jane. How do you know what you didn't know? You don't until you know better, right? And when you know better, you do better. But nothing is going to be done by sitting on the sidelines and just fretting and worrying and chewing on your cuticles, right? Nothing is going to be done by sitting around and trying to figure out how everyone else is wrong. Nothing is going to be done by sitting and watching the clock and reading another blog post about how, oh, not yet, dear ones, tomorrow you will be free. Okay. Personally, I'm free now. Personally, I'm living the dream now. Personally, I am always in a state of becoming that exactly what I already am. Personally, I am always in a state of collecting and drawing to me the resources, the information, the cooperative components, and the co-creators and co-players to manifest the dream and the visions that I have for this world. And yeah, rewind 3 weeks ago and watch day one, and you will see me completely in the weeds, completely lost in my own bullshit, not remembering. And then once you remember, you go, oh my God, of course, I just forgot. I just forgot. And then you come back to the center, and then you remember, and then you proceed. I think we've been so programmed to be afraid of ourselves. I think we've been so programmed to not look over in the dark, shadowy corners of ourself or our life or the world. And I think the reason that we've been programmed not to want to look into those dark corners is because that's where a lot of the truth lies. And I think a lot of the reason that we see such a huge divide on the planet right now, and so many people just doubling down on their ignorance willfully, is because they know the answer and they don't want to accept it. They don't want to acknowledge it. And I understand that. I understand that. It's a scary thing when you realize that those people who told you they loved you and were taking care of you and in charge of you really didn't and really weren't and were just totally fucking lying the whole time. Not all of them, but the majority, yeah. And once you get over that anger and once you get over that cognitive dissonance and once you process your feelings of feeling betrayed, then you realize, oh, I don't need anything from you. You're just a shitty fucking parent who didn't know how to parent me right. But now I'm old enough to know what I really want and I know how to get it. So I don't need your permission anymore. I don't need your approval anymore. I don't need you to open the door for me because I'm over here building my own fucking door. So you can continue to perpetuate the myths of, being enslaved and being imprisoned and being ruled over by these dark lords. No, I'm no longer a part of that reality. They don't rule anything over me. I'm over here doing my thing, what I came here to do. And it in no way requires the approval of the dark matrix in order for it to happen. So I just stopped fucking paying attention. Cancel my subscription, bitch. I've had enough of your issues. So, you can continue to scream from inside the prison cell at the guard, begging them for the key to your cell, or you can realize that the cell is a fucking made up illusion. It's made of cardboard and cobwebs. Like you just push through it and it'll collapse. I promise. I promise, but you have to be willing to stand up to it. You have to be willing to stand up to the programs of an indoctrination of fear. You have to be willing to stand up to the lies in your head that live there rent free. You have to be willing to stand up to the parts of you that are terrified of stepping out of line and, oh God, please, sir, may I have some more? No, I'm good. I don't require that madness anymore to be successful, to be fulfilled, to be creative, to be joyful, to be free, to be happy, to be aligned, to be in communication and connection with people who are also living the dream. You know, I'm going to talk about this in the upcoming May Ascension Report. Is coming up at 12:45 today, so just a couple of hours from now. I'm going to talk about this, and we're going to talk a lot about this, actually. This idea of I need to wait to be free. I need to wait until X, Y, and Z happens before. Okay, if you insist, get comfortable, girl, because I don't know of anybody that the dark matrix said, oh no, honey, you're free, go. This is all an illusion. This is all a joke. We're just kidding. No, you just get up one day and decide you're done, and you walk out the fucking door and never look back. That's really how much control the dark matrix has. None. There you go, my friends. I will see you in 2 hours and 19 minutes for the May 2024 Ascension Report. I love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Day 25. Tomorrow, day 26. 4 more left and counting. You can always go back and watch the beginning if you want to catch up. Like, share, and subscribe. Links are below in the description if you want to book a session, if you want to buy my book, if you want to donate and offer some financial love. Always appreciate it. If you have purchased my book available on Amazon, please leave a review. It really helps move my listing to the top of the pile because there's like a bazillion books on Amazon, you know, and I just need a little love to help me float to the top. Love you all. Can't wait to see you either later today or tomorrow morning. Have a fabulous Saturday. Mwah. Bye, everybody.